Hello everyone and welcome back. So today we are going to be building image filter apps, and as you can see here, this is the final project. Really simple. We have the upload image in the left and then the filter in the right. So here we have the box here, and the center we have text called upload image. Okay, and also the download image here, it's disabled right now because we don't yet upload the image. So now let's upload image. I'm going to choose this image. And as you can see, we have the preview, and as you can see here, we have two tabs: Instagram filter and custom filter. So in this filter here, we have a lot of option, and as you can see, we have 1977. Okay, it's immediately apply the filter in this image, and we can change whatever we want. So for example, let's say X Pro 2. All right, and we can also custom the filter. For example, the contrast, I'm gonna add the contrast, brightness, saturation, the sepia, and also the gray scale. Okay, so we can also download the image here. I can click, and as you can see, we have the result here. I can click and showing the result image here. Okay, really cool. So let's try another filter. I'm gonna use maybe, let's say Sutro. Let's say Lofi here. And if I download the image, and I can preview the image. Okay, so it's really nice. And what we're going to use is basically we are going to use React, and to generate React application we are going to use Vite. Okay, and also for the styling, the button, the slider here, etc., we are going to use MUI, which is Material UI. It's really good. And also we are going to use, for this Instagram filter here, we are going to use this instagram.css here. It's come from picturepan2.github.io/instagram.css. okay, to use this style, we can simply add class name called FilterTabs and then the name of the filter. This is the name of the filter. We have 1977, Aiden, etc. Okay, so, and also we are going to use DOM to image. Okay, this package is basically will be transform the document object model to image. Okay, and also for the download functionality, we are going to use file saver. Okay, so we are going to learn everything in this video. So yeah, just make sure you follow along this video until the end, and then yeah, let's get started, guys. Alright, so the first thing what we need to do is create a folder. I create a folder called ImageFilter, and in here I'm going to generate React application with Vite. So let's go to Vite, and here I'm gonna use yarn, so I can copy, paste that in here, and also I'm gonna use // in the end because I'm going to generate React application in this folder here, in this image filter folder. So let's hit enter and wait for that. All right, it's done. Yeah, cool. So I'm gonna select a React here, and let's open the folder with Visual Studio Code. And also here I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, so let's do like so. And also let's make it the font size a little bigger. I'm gonna use 18. Okay, it's good here. So now I'm going to run the app. So let's say yarn dev, command not found, yarn star, I think. Yeah, that is because we don't yet install the dependency. So we need to say yarn to install the React and then React DOM. So it's going to be install all the package. Alright, so now it's done. We can say yarn dev, and then it's going to be running the application right here. Okay, as you can see, it's pretty nice. And what we need to do now is basically I'm going to initialize Git first. So I want to say git init in this project. So let's say git init. All right, so let's close the terminal. And what we need to do first is let's remove everything, not everything, but this asset here I'm going to delete, and app CSS here. Okay, the index.css, I'm going to delete everything. And also in app.jsx here, what I'm gonna do is let's remove all inside this class name div, and I'm gonna put app. Okay, so let's remove the use state and up here. Okay, everything up here. So now save and let's take a look. We should see yeah, in main.jsx here we need to remove the index.css, and here we go. As you can see, we have the app. Okay, cool. So now let's install the Material UI. So let's go to MUI.com here and let's go to installation, and what we need to do is just copy this command here. Okay, and we are going to paste the command here and hit enter. And as you can see here, we need to use the Roboto font, so we can copy this link and go to index.html, and we are going to put the link right here. Okay, so let's do here, and also we need to basically change the title of this project, and I'm gonna use ImageFilter. Okay, so now it's safe. Okay, as you can see, it's done. Close this and let's take a look. As you can see, now we have this image filter. Okay, cool. So let's go back to MUI here and let's try to use let's use the button here for example. Okay, let's see if this work or not. So let's go to this app here, and I'm gonna use button. Okay, button call this button is basically come from MUI material, and also here I'm gonna say just for example, I'm gonna say example, and also this button I'm going to add the variant. So let's say variant set that equals to container. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, as you can see, it's working, right? All right, so now what we need to do is let's remove all this div, and I'm going to wrap everything inside a container. Okay, so this container is come from the MUI material. Okay, and let's wrap everything inside a container, and in this container I'm going to add styling. So if we want to add styling in the MUI, we can use SX. Okay, so SX set that equals to object, and in here I'm going to add margin top. So let's say I'm going to say 4M, and also margin bottom I'm going to say 4rem as well. Okay, so inside this container I'm going to use box here. So let's say box is like a div. Okay, so we have box here, and also inside this box we have h1, and I'm going to call this image filter. Okay, and inside this box I'm going to add styling, so we can say SX to add styling, set that equals to, and I'm going to say text line into center because I'm going to put this h1 into the center. So I'm going to say text line center, and also I'm going to add margin bottom. So margin bottom set equals to, let's say 3rem. Okay, so now if I save and let's take a look, as you can see we have this image filter. Okay, let's zoom out. Here we go. Okay, nice. So now let's add the grid, because as you can see in the final project we have two columns, right? The first is the image and then the filter. So let's go back here, and I'm going to add grid in down here. So let's say grid. Okay, this grid is come from material UI. So here we are going to specify this is going to be container, and also I'm going to set the spacing into, let's say 10. Okay, the space between the grid item. So inside in here we have the grid item, so let's put a grid as well. So let's say grid, and then let's say item, let's say image, and then down here we have the filter. Okay, so we can specify this grid should be item, so let's put item. Okay, and also this one, let's send item. Okay, so now we can save and let's take a look. We have this image and then filter, right? So we can also specify the weight of this item. So I'm gonna say for extra small I'm gonna set that to 12. Okay, and for this one, For extra small, I want to set that to 12 as well. So now we have this image and then filter. Okay, but for the medium and more, I'm going to set that to 7 for the image, and for the filter I'm going to set that to 5. Okay, here we go. Now we have this image here and the filter here, and if I on the mobile size, it's going to be 1 column. Okay, cool, right? So now let's create another component. So let's do component folder. All right, so inside this component folder, I'm going to create a file called, let's say, ImageField.jsx. And also I'm going to create the, let's say, FilterTabs. FilterTabs.jsx. Okay, so let's generate functional path component here. Okay, and also in here, RIFCE. And also now we can bring in this component inside in here. Okay, so basically I'm going to copy this, we just cut it out and put it here. All right, and also this image field I'm going to import and use right here. Let's say image field, like so. So now if I save, we should get the same exactly thing here. Something wrong here, we cannot see anything. So let's go to console. And what happened here? Let's see, grid is not defined. Of course, we don't yet import the grid. So let's do control and then space, and then we have this automatically import up here. All right, cool. So now let's working with this ImageField component, and there's a couple things that you can do to styling the MUI component. And in this case, I'm going to showing you how to use style. Okay, I'm going to be showing you how to use this one here. Okay, the style. So we can import style from MUI system, and then we can say style and then the component you want here, and then you can put style here. Okay, it's pretty simple. So now let's import the style first. So I'm gonna copy this one here. Okay, just copy that and put it here. Okay, as you can see, we import the style from MUI system, and then down here I'm gonna remove the image text. Okay, but before that we need to create the variable first. So up here I'm gonna say const. I'm gonna call this style box. Okay, so set it equals to, I'm gonna put the style come from MUI style here, and then here we can put, if you want to put HTML tag, you can use you need to use quote. You can say div here or p or anything you want. But if you want to use MUI component, you can say exactly what you want. So let's say box. Okay, for example. So in here we are going to send the, not send, but styling the box. So we can use object inside in here, and inside in here we can say like anything we want. For example, let's say a background, I'm gonna set that to, let's say, gray. Okay, but of course you need to use comma, and then now we can use this style box inside here. So we can say style box, and then we can put for example p here, and I can say upload image. Okay, so if I save, as you can see now we have this background gray. Okay, really cool. So let's styling this. So the minimal height, I'm gonna set that to, let's say, 20 rem, and also for the maximal height I'm gonna set that to, let's say, 1 view height. Okay, and also I'm gonna set that the margin bottom, let's set that to 1 rem, and also the border radius, let's say 5 pixel. I'm gonna put the text into the center. So because as you can see in the final project, we have the text in the center here, so we can use display flex to do that. So here we can say display flex, and then let's say line items, I'm gonna set that to center, and also justify content into the center, and down here I'm gonna set the cursor into pointer. Okay, so let's do cursor, and then pointer. Okay, of course we need to use comma. All right, if I save and let's take a look, here we go. Nice, right? So now let's scroll down, and down here we need to use the input, okay? Because we need to input the image, right? So we can use input tag. All right, so this input has basically have a type, let's say file, okay? And also the accept, I'm gonna set that to image, and then slash anything, the extension, just PNG, JPEG, or anything. And also I'm going to hide this input, so I can say hidden, set it to true, and then if I save, it's going to be gone. All right, so here I'm going to add ref. Okay, so ref set equals to, let's say upload input ref. Okay, so let's create the ref. Up here I'm gonna say cons, okay, set equals to use ref. By default is going to be null. Okay, so now what we need to do is, when I click the box, when I click this box here, I want to trigger this input. So how do we do that? So in here we can say on click event. So let's say on click, okay, set equals to, and in here I'm gonna say arrow function, and first I'm gonna check if the upload input ref dot current have a value. I can say upload input ref dot current dot click, okay, like that. So now when I click this box, it's like we click this input. Okay, so for example, if I click this, as you can see, it's working. All right, so now let's add the on change event in this input here. So let's say on change, set that equals to, I'm going to create function called handle change input. Okay, so let's create this function, and I'm going to do up here. So let's say cons handle change input set equals to arrow function, and in here I'm going to console log, so we can grab the event. So I can console log the event like so. Okay, so if I save and let's take a look, I'm going to inspect and see in the console. Okay, so like so, and now I'm gonna click and let's select this one, and as you can see we have this value here. Okay, so now let's go back. So what we need to do now is, we need to, when we upload the image, we need to store the image into the state. So first let's create a state. I'm gonna say cons, let's give a name image file, okay, and set image file set equals to use state. By default let's say null. Okay, so now we need to store the image inside this image file, but because we need to preview the image inside in here, okay, we need to use url.createObject URL. Okay, so let me showing you here. Okay, we need to set the image file into url.createObject URL, and we send the e.target.file, and then we access the array 0 like that. So now we can put this image file into the image tag. Okay, so for example, let's do here. Okay, first I'm gonna check, so I'm gonna cut this first, and then in here I'm gonna say if we have image file. Okay, so we need to render, let's say render image, let's say image function, we need to run the function, or else we need to just showing this upload image paragraph. Okay, so first let's create this render image. So here I'm gonna say cons render image set equals to, and then in here I'm going to render I'm going to use figure tag. Okay, so inside in here I'm going to say image. Okay, the source here is basically this image file, so let's remove this quote, and I'm gonna put the image file here. Okay, so let's save. Let's take a look what we have. So if I refresh and I click this upload image, and if I click the image, and we get some error here. What's the problem? Cannot read property undefined 0. So this file here should be files. Okay, so if I save, refresh, I click the upload image, I can click the image, and then as you can see we have this preview. All right, nice, cool. So now let's styling this image here, and I'm going to create another variable. So let's say cons, I'm gonna give a name style image, set equals to should be style, and then I'm going to render image tag, so we can say image, and then inside in here we can styling that. Okay, so first I'm going to set the width into width. Okay, set that equals to let's say 100%, and also the height I'm gonna set that to let's say 100% as well, and also the object width I'm gonna set that to let's say contain. Okay, so now we can use this style image in the image tag here like that. So if I save and let's take a look, as you can see guys, we have this width and height which is 100%. All right, really cool. And also we need to add the width and height inside this figure tag here. So let's say inline style set equals to, and we are going to set the width into let's say 100%, and also the height I'm gonna set that to 100% as well. So now if I save and let's take a look, I don't know what the problem, but let's see the box. This box here, we set the maximal height to 1 view height, so we need to change that to 100 view height. So as you can see now, it's clean. Okay, so it's clean, cool. So now let's add the button download here. So let's go down here. Right, so we need to add the button. So let's say button. Okay, this button is basically have a text called, let's say download image, and also I'm going to add some property here. Let's just say disable, set that equals to we are going to set that disable if we don't have the image file. Okay, and also I'm gonna say variant into, let's set that to contain it, and also I'm going to set the full width to true. So now if I save and let's take a look, here we go, we have beautiful download image. Nice. So now let's working with the tab filter here. So let's go to material UI documentation, let's go to components here, and I'm going to looking for tabs, this one here. So we are gonna use the secondary color, which is right here. Okay, we are gonna use this. So you can just copy everything here if you want, but we are going to write everything from scratch. So here, let's remove this div, and I'm going to wrap everything inside a box. Okay, remember box is like a div. So in this box here, I'm going to add style. So we can say SX. So here I'm gonna say margin bottom, let's add that to rem. Okay, so inside this box I'm going to put the tab, this one here. Okay, so first we need to use tabs. Okay, this one, and also inside the tabs we have 4 individual tab. Okay, so let's say tab like that. Okay, the tab is basically self-closing tag, so we can say tab and then close the tag like so. So first I'm going to create the state. So let's do up here, so let's say cons, and I'm gonna give a name tab filter, and let's say set tab filter set equals to use state. By default it should be InstaFilter. Okay, and also in the tabs here we are going to send couple property here for, let's say, value set equals to, the value should be tab filter. Okay, and also down here we have the on change set equals to, I'm going to create for a function called handle change. So I'm going to do up here, let's say cons handle change set equals to arrow function. And in here, basically what we need to do, let's see in the documentation. So what we need to do is grab the event and then the new value. So let's say event, and then the second parameter will be the new value. Okay, so what we need to do is set the value to new value. So in this case, we set the tab filter into the new value. Okay, and what else? We need to set the text secondary and the indicator color to secondary. So let's say text color to secondary and indicator color secondary as well. Okay, so let's save, let's take a look. We don't already render the filter tabs, right? So let's render here. So let's say filter tabs. All right, so save, and then nothing here because we don't specify the tabs here. Okay, so we can say value set equals to, I want to say InstaFilter, and also the label, I'm going to set that to Instagram filter. Okay, let's say filter. Also down here, I want to say value set equals to custom filter, and also the label, I'm going to set that to custom filter. Okay, so now if I save and let's take a look, we have this Instagram filter and custom filter. Okay, so now let's create the InstaFilter and the custom filter component. So in here we are going to create the drop down, and in here we are going to create the slider. All right, so let's go back to the VS Code, and in here I'm going to create a file. So I want to call this instafilter.jsx, and also I want to create the custom filter. So let's say custom filter.jsx. All right, so let's generate RIFCE, and in InstaFilter as well, RIFCE. Okay, and now we can import the component inside this app.jsx. Down here we need to import and bringing the filter, not filter but InstaFilter, and also the custom filter, right? Custom filter. Okay, so if I save, we should see the InstaFilter and custom filter. Okay, so first we are gonna working with the InstaFilter first. So I'm going to comment the custom filter. So let's go to InstaFilter component. All right, in here I'm going to create select come from MUI. So let's go to MUI and this one here inside the inputs, and I'm going to create really similar like this basic select here. So we need to wrap everything inside of form control. We need to use input label and select and menu item. Okay, you see this one here, it's pretty similar like this one. So let's go back, and in here I'm going to wrap everything inside a box first. So let's do box here, box, and then I'm going to bring in the form control. All right, and inside the form control we have the input label. So let's say input label, and the input label I'm gonna say filter. Okay, so down here we have the select. Okay, so let's say select like so, and then this select here we should send couple property like this one here. As you can see, we have the value, label, and the function on change function. So here let's say the on change, I'm gonna set that to, let's say, handle change. Yeah, let's create the function. So I'm gonna do cons handle change set equals to our function, and for now just put empty object here, and also I'm going to say value set equals to, so let's first create the state. Okay, so let's say cons. I'm going to give a name filter class, and also the function set filter class set equals to, by default it should be let's say empty string. So now what we need to do is let's bring in the value, the filter class inside the value. So let's copy and paste that in here. Cool. And I'm going to set the label to filter. Let's say filter. All right. So inside the select, we need to put the menu item. So let's go here and let's say menu item, and this menu item is basically the value inside this one here. Okay, we have 10, 20, 30 here. So for now I just want to say maybe 1970, and let's do random something here, say menu 2, and let's say menu 3. Okay, so we need to also bring in the value. So let's say value set equals to let's say 1, it's going to be string here, let's say 1970, and also this one here have a value set equals to 2, and also this one here value, let's say 3. Okay, so let's save and let's take a look what we have. As you can see, we have this one, but we need to add the width of this select here. Okay, so let's go back here. Yeah, we need to set the full width inside the form control. So let's go back, and this form control full width set it to true, and then here we go. Okay, I'm going to add the maximal width in this form control, so I'm going to do SX to add styling in this box. So in here I'm going to say maximal width, I'm going to set that to, let's say 300. There we go. Okay, all right, cool. It's not working because we don't yet working with the function here. So what we need to do is let's just remove this, and I'm going to use inline function here. So let's do set filter class into, we need to grab the event here like that, and then here I'm going to send the event dot target dot value to grab this value. Okay, all right, so if I save and let's take a look, if I do 1970, we have the value inside this select here, and here we go, it's working. Nice. So now we need to create array with all this value here. Let's see in the final project, we need to create array with all this value. Okay, so this value here I grab from this one here. Okay, you can see all the CSS name in here. Okay, so let's go back here, and inside the source I'm going to create a file. So I'm going to do untils.jsx, and here I'm going to create a variable called filter value and create array, and inside this array we have object, and we have name and the name of the class here and the class itself. Okay, like this one, we have name 1977 and the class is filter 1977. Like this one, Amaro, we have the class filter Amaro. Okay, you can basically copy all these array in the description. Okay, so if I save and let's close this, and let's go back to InstaFilter. So basically what we need to do inside in here is I'm going to grab the filter values. First we need to of course import that. So let's say import, we need to import the filter values. Okay, come from, let's say from /untils. All right, so let's do here filter values. So first I'm going to map through this array, and then I grab the individual filter, and in here I'm going to render the menu item like that. All right, so let's first remove all this thing here. So in this menu item we need to put the name here. So let's say filter.name and also the value, right? So let's do here. I'm gonna say value. So let's say value set equals to filter.value. Okay, so we need to also put the key. So key, I'm gonna use the filter. So say filter.value as well. Okay, so now save and let's take a look in the here. As you can see, we have all this value. Okay, if I click, it's not working. What happening? That's because here is not filter value but filter class. Filter class, like that. So now if I click, it's working. Okay, here we go. Let's select this none, should be none here. Okay, it's working, cool. So now let's working with the custom filter. Let's go back here. I'm going to let's close this. All right, so in app.jsx in here, I'm going to uncomment the custom filter and comment the InstaFilter. So let's go to custom filter now, and you should see custom filter here. Okay, so now what we need to do here is, yeah, we need to wrap everything inside a box. So let's do box, and we should import that. So let's say import come from MUI material, and this box I'm going to add maximal width as well. Not maximal width, but I'm gonna add margin top here. So the margin top should be 2 rem, and also inside in here, basically I'm going to map through the slider. Okay, so let's first create the array. So let's const create variable called slider, because in the final project, as you can see here, we have 5 different slider, right? So we need to create in here. So let's say slider set equals to, we need to create 5 object here. So first I'm gonna put the label. So this label should be, let's say, contrast, and also we are going to put the default value, and for the contrast I'm gonna set it to 100, and also the field, let's say the field name I'm gonna say contrast. Okay, so let's copy paste this 4 more time, and this is going to be brightness. Let's say brightness. Okay, and the field should be brightness as well, but let's change the b to lowercase, like that. And also I'm going to do here is, let's say, saturation, and the value should be saturate, like that. And this one here, it should be sepia, and the value, let's say, sepia. And this one here, it should be gray, let's say gray scale, and the value, the field here, I'm gonna say just gray. Okay, here we go, cool. So now we need to map through this slider. So let's do here, I'm gonna say slider.map. We grab the individual slide, and then in here I'm going to return the slider field, right? So let's first create the slider field. Let's do here, I'm gonna say slider field, okay, .jsx. Let's say arrive CE, and here I'm going to render the slider field like that. Okay, and in here we are going to send the slide set equals to slide, and also the key set equals to, let's say I'm gonna say slide dot, I'm gonna use the label, or maybe the field, doesn't matter, but field. All right, cool. So now we should see 5 slider field. Okay, so let's go to slider field here. So in here we are going to create the slider. So let's go to MUI so you can see the slider here. You can go to the input and slider, and the slider that I'm gonna use. Okay, it's pretty simple to use that. Basically you can click this and just see what you can do in this slider. Okay, pretty simple. So let's go back here, and again I'm going to wrap everything inside a box. So let's say box here, come from material UI MUI/material, and also inside this box I have another box. Okay, so let's first grab the slide here, and I'm going to destructuring the value. So let's say cons set equals to slide here. Okay, we're going to grab all this value here. So first let's say label the default value and also the field. Okay, because remember we send the slide here in this component here. The slide is basically the individual object here, so you can grab the label, default value, and the field. Okay, so now here we are going to put the label here, say label. Okay, and also down here we are going to render the slider. All right, slider is basically self-closing tag. So inside the slider we are going to send couple props. Okay, we have the size, default value, and etc. Okay, so let's go back here, and the size I'm gonna say small. Okay, and also the, let's say, value label display, I'm gonna say auto. Okay, and also the value should be value, it's come from the state. So let's create first cons value, and set value set equals to use state. Okay, by default it should be the default value come from these props here. Okay, nice. And then we are going to handle the on change set equals to handle slider value. Okay, so let's create a function. So I'm gonna do here cons handle slider value set equals to function, row function here, and I'm going to set the value into e.target.value. So let's see the project. All right, we need to, as you can see here, the maximal width, maximal slider here is 100, so we need to change that to 200. So we can say max here set equals to 200. Okay, so as you can see now, nice. The CPI and the grayscale should be 0. So let's go back, and here we should change that to 0, and this one here 0 as well. So let's refresh. Here we go. Cool, right? So we need to put this contrast in here. Okay, like this final project here. So what we need to do is, let's go back. So we need to wrap this everything here inside the display flex. So we can say sx set equals to, and we can say display, let's say flex. Okay, and also the line item, let's say center, and also the, let's say the gap I'm going to set that to 1 rem, and also the margin bottom I'm going to set that to 1 rem as well. All right, so now save and let's take a look. Here we go. Okay, cool. We need to wait, where is that? Right here. Okay, we need to add the width of this label. So let's go back in this box. I'm going to add style. So let's say sx set equals to the, I'm going to add the minimal width. I'm going to set that to, let's say 6 rem. Okay, if I save, and here we go. Okay, but these tabs here is not work, because as you can see here, let me showing you in the FilterTabs component. So we need to use this value here, the tab filter value inside the app.js here. So we need to use that and add some condition in here. So the better way to do that is we need to use context API. So first let's create the context API here. So let's export a variable. I'm going to give a name filter context. So let's say filter context set equals to, I'm going to say create context. Okay, the create context is come from React over here. Okay, and in here we are going to create the state. So let's go to FilterTabs, and we are going to copy this use state here and paste that in here. Of course, we need to import the use state. And here we are going to create value. So let's say const value set equals to, and I'm going to say tab filter, and also down here set tab filter. Okay, and all this container we need to wrap that inside a filter context provider. So let's do that here. So I'm going to say filter context dot provider. Okay, and we need to put all this container inside the filter context like so. Okay, so we need to send the value now. So let's say value set equals to value. Okay, this value here. All right, so now instead of using the tab filter come from use state, we need to use context in here. So let's say use context. Okay, it's come from React, and also the context what we're going to use is basically filter context. So let's say filter context is come from app. Okay, this one. So now if I save, it should be work just fine, but something wrong happened. So let's go to console, and use context is not a function, or its return value is not iterable. Yeah, that's because in here we're not using array. We should use object here like so. So if I save, it should be work just fine. Okay, so now we can use the filter, the tab filter value here inside in here. Okay, to generate the InstaFilter and CustomFilter depend on the value, depend on the tab filter value. So if the tab filter is equals to InstaFilter, okay, InstaFilter, so we need to render the InstaFilter component here. All right, like so, but else we need to render the InstaFilter component like that. So let's remove this, and it should be work now. So let's see if I refresh, and as you can see, the first thing is Instagram filter rendered here, and then if I click custom, we still see Instagram filter. Something wrong here. Yeah, this one here, it should be custom like so. If I save and let's refresh, as you can see, Instagram filter first, and then if I click custom, we have this slider. Okay, so now what we need to do is when I upload image, and then as you can see here, when I click this filter here, I need to, the styling will be applying in this image here. So let's go to InstaFilter first. So InstaFilter. So the idea is we need to grab this value, this filter class value, and put the class into the image field, into this image here. Okay, so first, of course, we need to create the context API and put this state in the context API. So first, let's copy this and go back to app.jsx, and in here we need to paste the state here, and then we need to send. Okay, so we need to send this filter class, and then we need to send the set filter class like so. Okay, so let's go back to InstaFilter, and in here, instead of using use state, we need to use context here. So let's say use context. Okay, and also here we need to using filter context. So let's say filter context. Okay, let's remove this state. All right, so now we can use the filter class here into the image field. Okay, so here, where's my image field? This one. Okay, let's go to the here. Okay, so in here, I'm gonna say const. Okay, I grab the filter class, and then I'm gonna say set equals to use context. Okay, and then here I'm going to paste the filter context. Okay, if I console log the filter class here, we should see the value. So let's save, Let's save that and let's go back here. Let's refresh. Something wrong again happened here. Let's see here, InstaFilter. So let's go InstaFilter, and we need to use object here instead of array. So let's use object like so. When I save, and it should be clean right now. Okay. So now if I select this, for example, 1977, as you can see, we get the class here. Okay, as you can see. Cool. So now we need to send this class into the image class here. Okay, this right here. So now we can add class name set equals to filter class. So let's say filter class. Okay, so let's remove this console. And now if I go back here and let's refresh, and I'm going to upload image, for example, this image, and I'm going to see, let me see the element. And then this one here, as you can see, the style is just with Hake and object fit, right? If I add the add-on here, as you can see now, the image here have a class filter add-on. Okay, this one here. All right. So it's not working for now because we don't yet add the Instagram CSS. So let's go to Instagram CSS here. I'm going to put all the link in the description, so don't worry about that. So I'm going to choose this instagram.min.css. But before that, we need to create the style folder inside the source. Let's say styles. Okay, styles, and then inside these styles, I'm going to create instagram.css. Okay, so let's copy all these CSS here, and I'm going to paste that in here. Okay, so as you can see, we get a lot of style here. Let's just save that. Let's go back to ImageField here, and we need to, of course, import the style. So let's say import, and we need to import the /styles, and then the name of the file, which is instagram.css. Okay, so let's now save and let's take a look. Let's go back here, and if I refresh, let's upload image, and I'm going to add this filter. As you can see, it's working. As you can see, nicely. If I do export to, as you can see, nice. All right, pretty cool, guys. So we know that Instagram filter now is working, and let's working with the custom filter now. So let's go to custom filter, but I'm going to close the InstaFilter here. Okay, let's go to custom filter here. This slider field, I think, yeah, this slider field. So what we need to do here is basically we need to store this value. Okay, this value come from the slider into the state. So first, let's create the state in app here. Okay, so let's do cons. I'm gonna give a name custom filter. So let's say custom filter, and also the function set custom filter. So let's say filter set equals to use state. By default, it should be object, and this object here is, let's do contrast first, and the value is 100, and also let's say brightness, the value is 100, and saturate, the value is 100, and also sepia, the value 0, and also gray. Okay, the value is 0 as well. All right, so now we need to send this custom filter into the value here. So let's say custom filter and set custom filter. Okay, so now we can grab this value into the, let's go to slider field here. Okay, in here we need to grab the, let's grab the custom filter and set custom filter come from use Axios. So say use, not use Axios, use context. All right, use context. All right, and we need to paste the filter context inside the use context. All right, so what we need to do here is I'm going to use use effect basically. So let's say use effect, and then here let's put arrow function, and then here let's put this use effect will be running every time the value is changing. Okay, I'm going to set the custom filter into, I'm gonna grab the value, the current value, the custom filter. Okay, and then here I'm gonna grab the field name, so field name, and then I'm gonna change the field name into the value. All right, if I save that, let's go back to app, and if I console log the custom filter, so let's see what we have when I refresh, and if I inspect and go to console, and let's see, we have object here. Okay, 100, 100, 0, 100, 0. Okay, and if I change the value, the gray for example, as you can see, the gray value here is updated. Okay, if I change the contrast is updated. Okay, cool. All right, okay, it's working. So now we need to use this value into the image field. So in here we need to grab the custom filter. So let's say custom filter. Okay, should be filter. Yeah. So now we need to send this custom filter into the style image. So let's say custom filter set equals to custom filter. Okay, but I need to, when I don't have the filter class, so I'm gonna say if filter class is false, I need to send the custom filter. Okay, so now let's go to the style image. So now style image have a props called custom filter here. Okay, so we can use that. So right here we can wrap this. Okay, and we are going to grab the props, and then here is going to be arrow function, and now we can say filter. Okay, and then in here, so we need to use comma here, and in here we can grab the props. So I'm going to use backtick here. So let's say contrast. Okay, the contrast, it should be, let's say props dot custom filter dot contrast. Okay, we grab this custom filter, and custom filter have value here, which is contrast. We grab the value. Okay, and next we need to grab the brightness. So let's go back, and where's the filter? Right here. Okay, and in here we are going to, yeah, basically we are going to wrap this and like so. Okay, and we put percent in here. So let's do percent like so. Okay, and also we need to just copy this one and paste that in here. All right, so now we need to change this to brightness. Okay, because we have brightness here. So let's change to brightness and prof custom filter dot brightness, and also we need to set the saturate. So let's change this to saturate, props custom filter dot saturate, and also the sepia. So let's go back here. It should be sepia and custom filter dot sepia, and the last thing is the gray. So let's copy and gray custom filter dot gray. Okay, no, it should be grayscale here. Yeah, like so. And then yeah, I think it's fine. So now it's safe, and let's go back here, and if I save, okay, let's upload some image, and then I'm going to change the contrast, for example. As you can see, it's working. The brightness working, saturate was working, the sepia working, the gray, it's working. Nice. But we have a little problem here. If I upload image, and then I'm going to apply the image here, the filter here, and then if I click custom filter, as you can see, it's not working. Okay, because when I click the custom filter, we need to set this filter here to the InstaFilter to none. Okay, So let's go to the filter tabs right here. So in here, I'm going to check if the new value is equal to InstaFilter, not InstaFilter, but custom filter. Okay, what we need to do is I'm going to set the filter class. Let's say we grab the set filter class. Okay, and then here we are going to set the filter class into empty string. Okay, so now let's go back. If I upload image, this one, I'm going to apply this lofi, and then if I click custom filter, now the InstaFilter is gone. Okay, now we can play around with this custom filter. So now let's working with the download image button here. Okay, so let's close the app here, filter tabs, custom, and slider here. So inside the image field here, I'm going to add a ref inside the style image here. So let's do ref here. Let's say ref set equals to, and I'm going to say image, let's say result ref. Okay, so let's create this image result ref. So I'm gonna do here, let's say cons image result ref set equals to use ref, and then by default should be null. So now let's go to the button here. Okay, so I'm going to add on click event. So when I click this button here, I'm going to run function called, let's say, handle download image. Okay, so let's create a function. So I'm gonna copy here, and I'm going to create a function up here. So let's say cons handle download image set equals to arrow function, and now I just want to console log the image result ref. Okay, so if I save, let's take a look, guys. If I refresh, and I'm going to upload image, and then let's add filter here, and if I click download image, as you can see, we have the current image here. All right, cool. So now what we need to do is we need to use the package called DOM to image here. Okay, so first we need to install that. So I'm going to copy the package name, and let's open the terminal, and then here, okay, I'm going to say yarn add image to DOM to image package. Okay, all right, so it's done. Another package that we are going to use is FilterTabs. So let's do, I want to copy the name of the package, and then I want to say yarn add FilterTabs and hit enter, and it's done. Okay, so now let's say yarn dev again to start the development server, and then here we go. Okay, cool. So how we can use the DOM to image package? So let's go to DOM to image here, and what we need to do first is let's import the DOM to image here. Okay, we can copy this and let's import here like that, and to use that is pretty simple. Basically we are gonna use this one here to get a PNG image plot and download it using FilterTabs. Okay, basically we can just copy this one here and paste that inside the function, this one here. Okay, remember the document.getElementById is basically the image result, so we can say image result ref dot current. Okay, and also this window we need to remove that, and save as is basically come from the file server, this one here. So we can just copy this and paste that in here like so. Okay, and the name of the file, you can do anything you want here. I'm gonna say result, and then yeah, that's it. If you want to handle the error, you can say dot catch here. So let's say dot catch. Okay, we grab the error, so I'm going to use function, and then we grab the error, say error, and then in here let's do anything you want. So I'm gonna say console.error, okay, and I'm gonna say oops, something went wrong. All right, and we are going to send the error here. So let's say the error, just like that. Okay, so now we can just save this and let's take a look, guys. And if I upload image, this one here, and let's apply the Kuno, okay, this one, and when I click download, as you can see, we get this result here, and if I click, and as you can see, we get this result, really nice. And if I trying to change that with custom filter, so let's do brightness, saturation, the sepia, and now when I download, we get the result one here, and if I click, as you can see, we get the result. Really cool, right? But the last thing is the font here. Okay, we need to change that, so let's go to the main CSS, and we need to bring in the CSS baseline here. So CSS baseline, like that. So if I save, and as you can see, the font is changed right now. Of course, we can also upload the image, and let's bring in this filter Ginza, or I don't know, let's say Helena, and if I download the image, we should see the result here. Okay, really cool. I think we're done with this project, guys, and if I open that into the mobile view, it's gonna be look like this. Okay, all right, we can also change that. Here we go. Here we go. We can also change the image like this one, and we can download that, and also we get the result, and then here we go. Okay, really cool. I think we're done with this project, guys. Hope you learn a lot of things, and just like another YouTuber out there, I want to say don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, that's it, guys, for this video. Hope you're doing well, and see ya.